Indeed, he's a rarity in show business, a former child star who was able to make the transition to adult actor. It did indeed begin in childhood for Roddy McDowall, who had made 17 films in his native England before coming to America to star in such films as Lassie Come Home with another child star, Elizabeth Taylor. Many years later, they co-starred again in the film extravaganza Cleopatra. And Roddy hit it big in science fiction as well with The Planet of the Apes. And then he came back down to earth for Funny Lady with Barbra Streisand. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Roddy McDowall. Gee, it's a great pleasure to meet you.
Same here, thank you.
Before I even ask you questions, I would like people just to take a look at these scads of paper that list Roddy McDowall's extraordinary work. It is, as I say, a delight to meet you. Dead of Winter, you had a very bemused look on your face, Roddy, as you watched yourself perform.
Well, I'm fond of that scene because that character I played is just, as the English say, bonkers, you know, I mean, out of his gourd. And you can't do a scene like that unless you're working with somebody who's very sensitive and terrific, like Mary Steenburgen, who's a fantastic actress, wonderful actress.
What caught your attention in the script of Dead of Winter that said, gee, I would like to play that part? Obviously, you go through scripts. Why this particular one, Roddy?
Well, the roles are very good, and the materials harkens back to a family of film that is very seldom dealt with anymore. Movies like Wait Until Dark and Spiral Staircase, melodramas, Gaslight, you know, that sort of thing where diabolical people terrify somebody of innocence. And that's the variations of that theme. You know, it's adorable. It's absolutely malevolent. And
deliciously malevolent.
Yes, and when you have the opportunity to work with a filmmaker like Arthur Penn, you're very lucky because he's sensational. It was a good cast. It was a lovely experience. And it's a good movie.
There's no way we can get the entire sweep of your extraordinary career, but let's try a couple of things. Reflect childhood. Elizabeth Taylor as a young girl, Freddie Bartholomew, Jackie Cooper. What recollections of Roddy McDowall as the young man who came to the United States at 10, 12? And what do you remember from the Hollywood days there? What thoughts, people come to mind, Roddy?
Well, I suppose the first impression of, you know, being at a place like 20th Century Fox on the first day and seeing suddenly people that I'd seen on the screen when I was 8 and 9 years old. I get people, the first day I remember meeting Linda Darnell and Carmen Miranda and Alice Faye, who were really wonderful, wonderful individuals. And that makes a big impression, you know, like for anybody, don't care what age, when you suddenly see somebody in life that you've seen up there on that giant screen and they talk to you. You know, yeah, that's... Elizabeth, the first time I saw her, was an extraordinary sight because she was an 8-year-old perfection, you know, with a absolutely ravishingly beautiful, so beautiful I began to laugh.
Really?
Oh yeah, because that sort of takes your breath away.
And then you, as it were, obviously follow her through your respective careers and hit again on Cleopatra, where you were right in the middle of not only making the extravaganza, but Elizabeth Taylor and Burton and Fisher and all of that.
Well, Elizabeth and I had been, have been friends since, actually, since we were in Lassie Come Home. That's a very long time. So we've shared a lot of life together, happily.
Who have you acted with, worked with? Because there's not a name of an actor that I could possibly think of that's not listed among the pages of your bibliography.
Greta Garbo, she's not
Greta
there.
Garbo is not.
She's not there.
But the Tyrone Powers and Orson Welles and Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly's and on it goes. Natalie Wood. Who have you acted with where you thought, this is just extraordinary, I would give anything to be with them again?
Well, I tell you something, one works with a lot of very, very good actors, I mean terrifically talented people. Where it really orbits is when you work with somebody who's not only wildly talented but also coupled with being professional.
Name such a person.
Well, there are a lot of them. People like Barbara Stanwyck, Ricardo Montalban,
really?
Rock Hudson was like that, and Natalie was like that.
Natalie Wood.
People like Robert Wagner, Carol Burnett. Enchantment, because their talent is immediate in whatever area it happens to be, whatever parameters. The talent is there and it's immediately accessible, but coupled with that is a professionalism that makes it sheer joy. You can work with a lot of people who are talented and have no sense of order, and while one respects that a great deal, it still jars you because you never know where you are. A woman like Mary Steenburgen, directors like Arthur Penn, are supreme professional.
But there obviously are people on Roddy McDowall's list who, if he didn't work with again, it would be too soon.
Oh, well, I think in all our lives we know
But
people
you don't
are,
want to mention those.
Well, why? You know,
All
you
right.
don't have to see them again.
You are, I found out about you, you are a collector of all kinds of things. And in fact, our own Boston University Library has special collections of Roddy McDowall.
There is
Why
a-
Boston University? We're
Well,
happy
there's-
to have them.
There's a remarkable fellow called Howard Gottlieb, who is curator
Yes,
at
indeed.
the Mugo Memorial Library, who has enormous professionalism and expertise, and who has gone out to build up a collection that is staggering. He came to me because of Libby Holman many years ago in the 60s and asked for my papers and memorabilia. I don't think they realized what they were getting into, because not only had I never thrown anything away, but my mother and father had never thrown anything away. So Boston U is lumbered with this tonnage.
I've been L-U-M-B-E-R-E-D, lumbered.
Right.
Anthony Neely reminds me. I think something that a lot of people don't know about Roddy McDowall, he is also an extraordinary photographer. Years ago, Double Exposure, the book, and we have actually some photographic samples of your work, Mr. McDowall.
Oh, you do? Oh,
yes, indeed.
Rex.
I think, for example, right there, Rex Harrison. And briefly, as we look at these beautiful photographs, a sentence, please, Roddy, about your feelings about the people that you see. Rex Harrison.
Probably the most masterful exponent of what he does. There's nobody else like him. He's unique.
Gifted
Absolutely
man.
unique.
That woman, I think, you recognize.
Yes, that's my friend. That was taken in Rome.
On the set of Cleopatra?
Yes, I did a whole series of her putting on these makeups, which she's a remarkable artist, Elizabeth. Great
Kind
sense.
woman, fundamentally?
Oh, tremendously.
The
yes.
late Ruth Gordon.
Yes, well, what does one say about Ruth? She was one of a kind.
And
really.
said marvelous things about you.
She was an extraordinary woman.
Betty Lauren Bacall.
Yes, that was taken in California in the 60s.
Beautiful photograph, Roddy.
Well, that is a very haunting lady. She echoes in one's life. Wonderful woman.
And a man by the name of Fonda.
Oh. Well,
You miss
he...
him?
Tremendously. He's one of the treasures of my experience, because from the time I was 12 until he died, we were very close friends. He was a lovely man. He was one of the few people when I was a child at work who treated me like I was an adult, which was very nice. You know, didn't patronize me. Wonderful man.
We have to conclude. I want one sentence from you, though, on Mr. Cary Grant.
Oh, well, I think we all share the same feeling about him. He was probably the most elegant man in film, you know, and well, a part of our life has gone with him. It's too bad.
Something I think that Ruth Gordon said about you, I may be wrong, but someone did, I think it was Ruth Gordon, she said one of the kindest people she'd ever met, that Roddy McDowall just had millions and millions of friends. I see why. Thank you, Roddy
Well, thank
McDowall,
you.
as I thank you for being with us.